Welcome back to Muslim Minds. I'm Hamza, that is Rohaib right over there. We're going to be reacting to the rise and fall of the medieval Islamic Empire.
In the 7th century CE, one man started a chain of events that would change the world order for good. The Prophet Muhammad united the people of the Arabian Peninsula.
She is a Muslim, or she's an Arab.
I thought it was like some other Jennifer.
The Prophet Muhammad.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Unpause it.
Through the formation of Islam. These people included both nomadic Bedouin tribes and the inhabitants of oasis cities like Mecca and Medina. Until Muhammad's time, the region hadn't been considered a serious match for the powerful neighboring Persian and Byzantine empires. But the alliance Muhammad formed was political as well as religious, an empire with Medina as its political heart and a force to be reckoned with. Muhammad was a one-of-a-kind leader. He had been a member of the Quraysh, the tribe that...
Islam is like a structured religion, like with... You could even compare it to kind of like Catholicism in its structure and hierarchy. Not so much as like the very kind of details. Like we have imams, but I guess not as authoritative as like a priest or a bishop.
So they're not even like Catholics at all, basically.
Oh, I mean, we have a khilafah. They have
a leader.
They have the pope. You know, religious stricture, tradition, hadith. Get wrecked.
Controlled Mecca. After Muhammad's death, those close to him deliberated who should succeed him. A contentious question. Abu Bakr, Muhammad's father-in-law, emerged victorious and became the new caliph or successor.
He didn't really emerge victorious. It was a consensus that the shura, which is like the what's it called? Shura?
Counseling.
Yeah, the counseling of the high Sahaba. They elected him. Abu Bakr did not want to be the leader because if you're a leader, you're bearing the responsibility of everyone else. So he didn't gain victory. In Islam, you shouldn't vie for leadership. If you vie for leadership, that means you shouldn't actually be the leader. But he was elected leader because he was the most viable option, and he was chosen by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to lead the prayer when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ could not.
One of the other sects of Islam, you have Sunni and Shia. The Shia say that Ali should have been the first one. That is a valid opinion to have if you believe that he should have been the first one. He's one of the greatest companions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and among his family.
His cousin.
But the thing is that if you look at the Prophet ﷺ's life and times and what he has said about the Khilafah, he never once clearly, unambiguously said that Ali is going to be the Khalifa after me, and if he isn't, it's some kind of issue. Now, someone may say, why does that have to be a stipulation? Why does Prophet ﷺ say exactly this? It's because Islam is clear and what needs to happen is clear, right? And he doesn't say that Ali is my Khalifa or he's going to be like my caliphate after me, right? That's why it's up to Shura. That's why when the Prophet he had Abu Bakr as-Siddiq lead the prayer at the during his final days when the Prophet was sick. Abu Bakr was the one who was leading the prayer, right? So there was heavy emphasis on who would make good candidates, but the order is not really, I guess, from the non-Shia sects, they believe it's not really important as long as it's someone who's qualified and elected by the Ummah, the majority.
Mm.
Over the next 30 years, 4 caliphs, all from Muhammad's tribe, conquered vast areas beyond Arabia, including their mighty neighbors, the Persians and the Byzantines. But as the empire expanded, dissent within it grew, and a civil war erupted. The 4th caliph, Ali, was assassinated. Afterwards, the Umayyad dynasty came to power. The Umayyads were from the same tribe as Muhammad, but from a different rival clan. They extended the empire's reach from present-day Spain to India and made Damascus their capital. But an empire this vast, full of many different peoples, was at risk of conflict and fracture. The Umayyads stabilized it by replacing the ruling elite in conquered territories with Muslim officials, while largely allowing the day-to-day customs of local populations, including their religious preferences, to continue. Arabic was used.
That's actually something very amazing. And even though we're all under one nation, we're all Muslims, but all of us are different. There's like fluidity in our lifestyles and our different cultures and whatnot. So anyone in the world can be a Muslim, but you can have different cultural practices and slightly maybe different views upon Islam itself with the different madhabs or viewpoints, and all that is accepted. So Islam is a very moderate religion in that sense.
It's a well-balanced religion. That's why you have all these lands that were conquered by Islam, like, the Holy Land in Jerusalem, India, Egypt, Spain.
Yeah.
They all have retained their religions. You have Coptic Christians in Egypt to this day. You have Hindus, dominating India. Yes, of course, there are many examples in history where, maybe there was some kind of discrimination, but that's not tied to the religion. That's tied to human nature and indecency. Wherever you go, no matter what creed or faith you subscribe to, you always have people kind of abusing their power.
But if you don't want to abuse your power, you'll subscribe to Muslim minds.
Yes.
As the administrative language, unifying political affairs across the empire. But people continue to speak and write local languages too.
Marhaban.
Still, many in the empire were dissatisfied with Umayyad rule and questioned the dynasty's legitimacy. The Abbasid family Umayyad
These people don't make ignorant.
Still, many in the empire were dissatisfied with Umayyad rule and questioned the dynasty's legitimacy. The Abbasid family capitalized on these sentiments, promoting themselves as more direct descendants of the Prophet, though their actual relation to Muhammad was more tenuous than they claimed. They overthrew the Umayyad Caliphate in 750 CE, becoming the second great dynasty of the Islamic Empire. To establish themselves as the new rulers, they relocated the capital once more, this time building a new city, Baghdad. Under Abbasid rule, the elite enjoyed a lifestyle of luxury, thanks to extensive trade networks that brought both products and people from all over the known world to Baghdad. Byzantine, Persian, Indian, and Arab cultures and knowledge intermingled, leading to artistic and scientific advancement. The caliph was...
That's very slept on in the West. That you don't hear, like when you study history and scientific advancements, you don't hear a lot of what was contributed by the Islamic world, which was, almost every major scientific advancement had some kind of root with Islam. The development of photography, astronomy, medicine, chemistry.
Gunpowder, guns, Turkish stuff. And yeah, everyone wanted to go to the Muslims to become more knowledgeable because they were the ones that were progressing in it. And the religion and gaining knowledge in any field, it had it wasn't exclusive.
Yep.
It's inclusive.
Some of the first universities were produced by Muslims.
MashaAllah.
Wealthy and powerful beyond imagination. But there was never a clear line of succession dictating who would become the next caliph. Any male relative of the former caliph was eligible, so brothers, nephews, and uncles fought to gain power. Within the court, army officers, wives, concubines, and government officials all demanded their share of the treasury. Because the caliph depended on his entourage to stay in power, each transition of rulership opened the doors for favoritism and corruption. Outside the court, many questioned the legitimacy of the caliph, noting that the caliph's religious duty to moral excellence was at odds with the court's decadent displays of wealth. In 1258 CE, the Mongols approached Baghdad. They encountered little resistance as they thoroughly destroyed the city.
What's interesting? The Mongols called out the Muslim rulers at this time, and they said, "You're not even following what's in your own books."
Really?
Something like that. Oh no, I forget who was. I think it was Genghis Khan. He said that I am the punishment of Allah on you, on your people. That's crazy. I don't know if it was him. I may be tripping, but it was one of these big Mongolian leaders.
You racist. Just kidding. But it's kind of messed up because when it goes back to the election of Abu Bakr anhu, the reason why it's the view that he was elected, because it was from Shura, from all the good Sahaba, the good Muslims to elect. Once it starts getting into family and nepotism and succession, then it just become messed up. Then you have no resistance because probably the Muslims don't even care about the Khalifa, because the Khalifa is supposed to be the religious leader, the one with the best morals and religiosity, following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you're not doing that, then you're not the leader to the Muslim people.
Yeah, you kind of see a development of greed, nepotism, like Hamza said, which combined with greed and lust for power and control and all this stuff, it can lead to just hypocrisy amongst the leader in comparison to the people, and then making him not a very credible leader, prone to being overthrown or infighting.
Listen to the temptations of shaitan.
Yeah.
Struggle for power, not even caring about Islam anymore.
Yeah.
It's like any other empire.
Yep.
Legend has it that they rolled the caliph in a rug and had horses trample him to death, and that the Tigris River ran black from the ink of the manuscripts that were thrown into it.
Yep.
The siege of Baghdad lay bare a long-standing reality.
Sad, the manuscripts. I mean, we do have the entire Quran and first century manuscripts from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu which is, alhamdulillah, it's amazing that we have the entire Quran from that time. But I mean, how many more proofs will we have had for the preservation? We have enough.
So many early stuff, or just scholarly writings, information.
Yeah, but it would have been overwhelming.
For centuries, the caliphs had ruled mostly symbolically. Local leaders throughout the empire had grown more powerful, and they refused to pay taxes, spending the money on their own courts instead. The time of one united Islamic empire was over, but its influence, through written and spoken Arabic...
See, that's insane. We are pretty much the only Muslims throughout history that have lived without a khilafah for over 100 years now.
Yeah,
From
since
the time
World
of
War
Prophet
I, World War II, there's no Muslim empire the last 100 years. Less than 100 years, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, 1914, I believe. World War One. SMH, guys.
That's why the Muslim Ummah is so fragmented now beyond belief.
Yeah, we're the largest in number, but the weakest, like the Prophet Muhammad said.
Yeah, Prophet predicted that we will become numerous like the foam of the sea, but useless, and that the nations of the world will tear us apart like a food on a plate. Exactly the situation of the Muslim Ummah today. Look at Pakistan, you look at Yemen, Syria, Palestine. Every single one is Iraq. They're all suffering.
Islam, and the ideas of its greatest intellectuals left a lasting mark on the world.
That was a good video. It was very short, but packed with knowledge.
Yeah.
In the history of how, from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, Islam rose up, expanded, and then after political stuff got involved, it just went downhill from there.
Yeah. That's what they say, Khulafa Rashidin, the four rightly guided. Afterwards.
Yeah, literally after that, it was just family stuff.
Yeah.
And even those, Uthman and Ali, I believe.
Ajma'in.
They were the rightly guided ones, and they were assassinated themselves. That's how much human corruption came in, and shaitan.
And Umar too.
He was assassinated?
Yeah, while leading Salah.
Oh, yeah.
By this guy named, I think.
Yeah, he stabbed him in the side, right?
Yeah.
And he died.
Yeah.
But he died at 62, like the Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr.
Yeah.
It's pretty messed up. They all just corruption and stuff like that. But yeah, very interesting video. Any other recommendations you guys want us to watch? Let us know in the comment section down below. Leave any comments of anything you want us to. Any comments you guys have for this. And assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.